Hey everyone, my name is Daniel Rose. I'm the director of the undergraduate social work program here at UNC Greensboro. I want to welcome you all. This is advising specifically for first and second year students, or what we call freshman and sophomore students. If you are a transfer student, you will probably want to look at the advising video for juniors and seniors. A lot of this depends on where you are in the curriculum. You see my cat running behind me. Where you are in the curriculum, how many credit hours you have. Generally, freshmen and sophomore, first year, second year students have under 60 credit hours. So for freshmen, it's 0 to 30 credit hours, and for sophomore, it's 30 to 60. And then when you get to the 60 mark, you start heading into the junior year. So I'm going to kind of go over this briefly. I know these videos in the past have been kind of lengthy for those of you who've watched them. A lot of that had to do with the pandemic, because we would offer advising sessions in the computer lab in person, and then a lot of questions would come up then. And so what I was trying to do in these videos over the pandemic was think of every conceivable question that would come up and try to answer them all in the video, which wound up having the video to be relatively lengthy. So I want to try to keep the video here a little bit shorter. So I'm going to do a screen share and go through, and get it to work. There we go. And go through a PowerPoint with you. I got to move things around on the screen because there's a couple things I'm going to show you. Here we go. Okay. So for freshmen and sophomore, I want to start off with, and I'll say this several times, is you need to keep an eye on your credit hours. You will need 120 credit hours to graduate. I will reinforce this over and over again, because what will happen is invariably the last semester, the last academic year, I'll have a handful of students who come up to me. I have 115, 118 hours. They don't have the 120 hours. They're like, I don't know how this happened. How this happened? And that's like, you have not paid attention. You've got to really orient yourself to DegreeWorks. DegreeWorks is the degree evaluation online. I have a video about that one also. There's two different general education requirements. The university shifted from what is called the general education core to Minerva academic curriculum. Most of you will be under the Minerva academic curriculum, but you'll hear me kind of go back and forth between those two when I talk about general education classes, just because I'm still having to navigate those two different systems for students, because we do still have a handful of students who are caught up under the general education core. You will be under the Minerva academic curriculum. So when you look at DegreeWorks, you go to the video, I'll have the two different ones. Yours is under the Minerva academic curriculum. One of the things I'm going to send out with these videos is what's called our suggested plan of study. And basically that's what it is. It is a suggested plan of study. It's not something that you have to follow completely, but it breaks things down with the freshman first semester, freshman second semester, sophomore first semester, sophomore second semester. Give you an idea of the courses you want to take in the sequence and order that you want to take them, but you don't have to stick to that. Really, the only thing you need to do is when you look at the Minerva academic curriculum, you see the requirements that you need, you look up the general education courses that match up with the Minerva academic curriculum requirements. You take that course, it will let you know if it meets that requirement, and it'll just check a box off. And I talk about this once again in the DegreeWorks, and I also kind of walk you through looking up some of these courses to get a sense of what it looks like from my end to look up courses. You all have access to what's called Schedule Hero, which is great. From my understanding, it actually is very workable, pretty easy to work with. I'm not trained in Schedule Hero. I don't have access to Schedule Hero. That's what you have access to. But from my understanding, it helps you really kind of navigate through the different courses, courses that you need for the general education requirements. So for freshmen and sophomore, I strongly encourage you, you need to really stay focused on continuing those general education courses, those courses that are caught up under the Minerva academic curriculum heading. You need to have those completed before you go into your field placement your senior year. So the expectation for us is that you've completed all your general education course requirements, and there's area requirements that are towards the bottom of the DegreeWorks. When you look under social work and you look towards the bottom, and I'll show this to you really quickly, you'll see area requirements, which is psychology, sociology, human development, family studies. You need to have those courses completed also. So really the first couple of years is focused on getting those general education courses done. If you are a sophomore, if this is your second year, your sophomore year, you should take Social Work 215 the spring at the latest. You really want to take that course, because if you miss it in the spring, so that means if you're around 30 to 45 credit hours and you're looking at starting your junior year, you need to be in Social Work 215 in the spring to keep you on track, because the first semester junior year, you're going to be in Social Work 310 and 311. We do offer Social Work 215 over the summer. So if you do miss it, we will try to get you in there. But often the summer course is filled up with transfer students and students who are changing their major. So we'll have students who wind up changing their major kind of at the last minute, their sophomore, junior-esque year, or students who are transferring in from community college with their associate's degree. And we really like to leave the summer session open to get them enrolled in summer session so they can stay on track and be in Social Work 310 and 311 their fall semester junior year. So we really like for sophomores to be in Social Work 215. Freshmen, we would prefer that you don't take Social Work 215 now. We won't keep you out of it. We also have to be aware of the number of students that are in there. And the students who are in 215, you are together in what's called a cohort, which means you'll go into 310 and 311 together. You go into the spring semester junior year courses together, and then you'll go into your senior year together. So you really start to develop relationships with people in Social Work 215 that kind of last throughout their time in the social work program. And if you're a freshman, students are going to be kind of ahead of you. And so we kind of encourage you to wait your sophomore year, because then you'll be in Social Work 215 with students who will be in the class with you, who are going to go ahead with you in the program and stuff. So just as a reminder for freshmen, sophomore, stay focused on those general education courses. If you are a sophomore, if this is your second year, you want to be in Social Work 215 this upcoming spring semester. See if I can get this thing to work. There we go. So overrides, this won't come up as much with you all, but it will come up sometimes, in that you are trying to get in a philosophy class and you can't get in it, or you're trying to get in a history class. You're trying to get into some class to meet your general education requirements. You can't get into it. And you'll email me, hey, could you do an override? I can't. I can only do override for social work classes. What that means is, as you move forward in the program, if a social work class is full, it is our obligation to keep you on track. And so I can do an override to get you into a social work class. I can't do overrides in other departments. I only work in the social work department. So students will ask, can you get me in this philosophy class or this history class, this Spanish class? I can't. Sometimes what will happen is students will accidentally drop a class. I'm not really sure how that happens, but they will. And, these spaces can be somewhat competitive. And if you drop a class, somebody may jump right in and take that space. And then you try to get back in the class and you can't get back into it. And you email me and say, hey, can you get me in this class? I accidentally dropped it. I can't. I'm sorry. So you need to be very observant about classes. Once you get in them, if that's the class you want, you stay in it. Don't tinker around with your schedule too much and drop it. You may not be able to get back into it. And I have no control of getting you in other classes except for the social work classes. So once again, general education requirements, which are called the Minerva Academic Curriculum, you need 120 hours to graduate. It's not that complicated. You are in 4 years. For most of you, some of you transfer in. So that means you take on average 15 semester hours. That's 5 classes, 15 to 16 semester hours each semester over 4 years, 2 semesters each year. That's 120 credit hours. It's not that complicated, simple mathematics. If you're taking 12 credit hours a semester, you are unlikely to graduate on time. You may have to take some classes over the summer or some winter session courses. So what you need to do is to make sure you're keeping an eye on in DegreeWorks, and in the DegreeWorks video, I talk about how you can keep up with that. And you need to make sure you keep an eye on the number of credit hours you have, the number of credit hours you've completed, the number of credit hours you need to complete in relation to the semester hours or the semesters you have left. The thing about DegreeWorks that is problematic is it has little check boxes, little boxes you can check off. So once you have all those boxes checked, you think, I'm done, I don't need anything else. You always need 15 credit hours of what are called free electives. And that means anything you want to take. You're at a university. If you want to take a course in women and gender studies, you want to take a course in Afro diaspora studies, you want to take a course in classical studies, you can take any of these courses. You just need 15 credit hours, which is 5 courses of free electives to stay on track. But you need to calculate in your head, if you're taking 15 credit hours a semester, you're going to graduate on time. If you're taking less than 15 credit hours a semester, you're probably going to have to make up that time somewhere else. Once again, this is the big question we get during advising. I do not know, and we do not know when your registration window opens up. It should indicate it on Schedule Hero, and most likely it'll indicate it when you log into UNC Genie, go to registration, go to the semester period, should be spring 2023. In the add drop section, it will tell you when your registration window opens up. I don't know when it opens up, and those of us in the department do not know when the registration window opens up. Only you know that. It's staggered based on the number of credit hours you have, based on the number of hours you have left, and the number of students we have at the university. We have a large number of students. And so what happens is the students with the highest number of credit hours, closer to the senior status, their registration window opens up, and then it filters down from there. So I don't know when your registration window opens up. You need to check either UNC Genie under registration or check Schedule Hero. Last year, I have not heard yet. So historically, the summer session opened up at the same time that the spring session opened up, which means that you could start registering for summer courses. That changed last year. Last year, the registration window opened February the 1st. I'm thinking it's around that period. This is a slide from last year. I'm unsure. Once I get that information, I'll get that sent out to everybody. But the summer session does not open up now. It'll open up sometime in the beginning of the spring semester. And you also have access to winter session courses. I also do not know when those are going to be listed. They generally open up around the time that the fall semester opens up for registration. You just Google UNCG winter session and it takes you to the page. And most likely you will see the winter session courses from last year until they update it for the ones for the beginning of the year. The winter session courses run over the winter. They start, I think, around the end of the fall semester, like when grades are due, and runs till around the beginning of the spring semester. They're usually around 5 weeks. They're offered online, and they're mostly general education courses. So it's a really good opportunity if you want to get ahead, or if you've gotten behind a little bit, you feel like you need to catch up, you can take a winter session course, and they're usually general education courses that you can take with those. So this GME requirement is not correct. I should have updated this. So you have a math requirement under Minerva Academic Curriculum. I think they call it a quantitative literacy. So it used to be called GMT requirement. Now it's called quantitative literacy. The social work program requires that you take a data analysis course. And we offer, and this is different. So let me go ahead and update that. It's $350 now, not $250. So we offer a data analysis course called Social Work 350. I call it Stats Light. So what often students will do, if you are a little bit more math phobic or if you struggle with math, is we will encourage students to take Math 112, not 115, 112, which is called Topics of Math. So if you take Topics of Math, that meets the university's general education requirements for math, which is called quantitative literacy, but you still have to take a data analysis course, and students will take Social Work 350. If you are comfortable with math, if you have taken a stats course at high school or something like that, and you feel like, I think I can do stats, you can take Stats 108. That will meet the university's requirement for the quantitative literacy or the math requirement and the social work requirement for the data analysis course. So you have a choice. You can take Stats 108 and it meets the social work requirement and the university requirement. If you're a little bit uncomfortable in taking a stats course, you can take Math 112. That will meet the university's requirement, and then you can later take Social Work 350, which is our data analysis course. So you want to think about that as you're moving forward in your program and deciding what type of math course to take. You'll notice at the bottom of degree works, there are courses that are listed as a cultural and diversity elective. So you can either take 2 semesters of a foreign language at the elementary level, which is like Spanish 101, 102, or French 101, 102, or you can take 2 courses in what are called the cultural and diversity elective. Now, there's a list of courses on DegreeWorks, and that's not an extensive list. What we have learned over time is that some programs and some departments will offer these really unique courses that we would consider as part of a cultural and diversity elective. So any course that's generally non-Western, or any course that really focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion, women and gender studies, African diaspora studies, anthropology, courses that are looking at diversity, we will consider those courses. For us to get those courses added into that list on DegreeWorks, we have to go through curriculum committee, and it takes a year to go through curriculum committee, and then it gets approved for the following year. So some departments like history and African diaspora studies and women and gender studies will offer these unique courses maybe once every 2 or 3 years, or they may offer an experimental course once or twice. And so we're not going to go through having it approved with the curriculum committee and have this huge long list, because it would just make DegreeWorks unmanageable. It's huge long list. So we have a kind of foundation of cultural and diversity elective courses that we have there, that if you choose those courses, American Sign Language is one of them. If you choose those courses, you're good to go. There's no problem with that. But if you stumble on a course that you're interested in and you know it meets a kind of diversity requirement, we encourage you to look at that course. You just need to reach out to one of us, most likely me, say, hey, I'm interested in taking this course. You can email me, or you can come in office hours, and then I generally will approve it. The thing that we have to do, and this is really important to remember, is just because you take it doesn't mean it automatically populates in the cultural and diversity elective requirement. What that means is you will eventually have to follow up with me after you've completed the course, and I need to do what's called a curriculum modification form. So I actually have to fill out an online form and send it to the registrar's office. So I may approve the course, but it's not going to get listed in your DegreeWorks until after you've completed the course. You come meet with me, and then I do a curriculum modification form and have that course count towards the cultural and diversity elective. Grade replacement. This is really important for those of you, and I'll probably talk about this in advising. I'll talk about it in classes with me. So you need to have a 2.5 GPA to move forward in the program and to apply to the major. So you apply to the major your junior year when you're in Social Work 310 and 311. You apply to be admitted to the major, what we call the professional track of the major. So you have to have at least a 2.5. So if your GPA is below a 2.5, there are things that you can do to bring that GPA up. One of them is actually retaking the course. Once you finish taking the course, you submit a form to the Student First Office. It's a grade replacement form. The Student First Office will look at that form, they'll evaluate it, and then they will determine that we're going to replace the higher grade for the lower grade. An example of this is if you've taken American Politics, Political Science 200, and you made a D in American Politics, and it's pulling your GPA down, and you're like, oh, I really wish I had made a better grade on that, and I'm going to retake that course. You retake American Politics. It does not have to be with the same professor, but it does have to be the same course, Political Science 200. So not the same professor, but the same course. You take it, you complete that course, you submit the form, the online form of the Student First Office. It's the grade replacement online form. You submit it to the Student First Office. After the final grade has been posted, they will evaluate it, and most likely they will give you the higher grade over the lower grade. Historically, you have up to 3 grade replacements that you can do. I'm unsure. You need to reach out to the Student First Office. I think the Student First Office was looking at updating that to 5, but I don't know where that stands. But right now, as I'm doing this advising session, from my understanding, you get up to 3 grade replacements. So if you've tanked a couple of classes, you want to retake those classes, You do a better grade in those classes, you submit the form to the student first office, they will take the higher grade over the lower grade. This will dramatically change your GPA. It's amazing how much that'll change your GPA. I will have students who are in their junior year getting ready to apply to the major, and their GPA is like a 2.0, and they're doing 1 or 2 grade replacements, and their GPA will jump up to like a 3.0. So grade replacements are a really good opportunity if you've tanked a class, you haven't done as well in the class. I don't know if they'll do it with B's and C's. You could reach out to the student first office and ask them, but I know D's and F's, you definitely can do a grade replacement. And then if you want to talk to me about that a little bit more, I'll be more than happy to talk to you during my office hours. So as I mentioned, you have 15 credit hours. That's 5 courses of free electives. So some students are kind of uncomfortable with that. It's like, tell me what to take, tell me what to take. And it's anything you want to take. So what I really encourage students to do is look at minors. And this is a really good time to look at this your freshman and sophomore year. So what is it you're interested in social work? What is it that you want to do? What is it that you're passionate about? And minors are really good opportunities for you to kind of highlight these ideas in social work that you're interested in. If you're interested in working with diverse populations, you could look at anthropology, you could look at African diaspora studies. If you're interested in working with issues of LGBTQ communities, you can look at women and gender studies. I offer a couple courses in women and in LGBTQ studies within the women and gender studies. If you're interested in working with children and families, we have a lot of students who do their minor in human development family studies. It's a great minor. Students really like that minor. They like the courses in human development family studies. English, history, you name it. I mean, we have students do classical studies. I did a minor in classical studies in anthropology. So anything you're interested in, almost any department has a minor. If you're interested in clinical work, you often will think about doing psychology, which is heavily theory laden, which is great. I think psychology is a good minor. But if you're interested in doing clinical work, I often encourage students to look at doing a minor, either communications or peace and conflict studies, because both of those degrees are skills related. So communications has courses like crisis communication. Peace and conflict studies has courses like conflict in the workplace and stuff. So I'm always geared towards peace and conflict studies. You'll hear me talk about it. I teach restorative justice in my classes. I'm always teaching about peace building. I'm using peacemaking circles in my classes, and we work really closely with peace and conflict studies. So that's one minor that I'm always encouraging students to look at. But there's a wealth of minors out there. If you're interested in minor, only thing you need to do is Google UNCG change major, and the first link that pops up is usually the change of major minor form, and then you fill it out and you indicate which minor you're interested in. If you are interested in doing, we're really excited about this. The university put a glitch in this a couple of years ago, and they've stepped back on it. So now we're able to reinstitute it. So as I said, we work really closely with peace and conflict studies. And so if you're interested in doing a double major, what's called a simultaneous degree in peace and conflict studies, and you're a freshman or sophomore, now is the time to think about that and come talk to me, because we will work with peace and conflict studies, and they will work with us to try to get you oriented to taking classes and having both of those majors. So you will be graduating with a simultaneous degree in social work and peace and conflict studies. So if you're interested in just doing the minor, it's 5 courses, which is 15 credit hours. There are some minors that are 18 credit hours and some that are 21. The business, I think, has 21. Most of them are 15. So if you're interested in a minor, you're not really sure what you're interested in doing, aging, gerontology, we have a gerontology minor, just come meet with me in my office hours. That's one of the things I like to do with students, sit down and talk to them about what your interests are, and we can kind of look and brainstorm on a minor. Let's see what the next one is. I'm going to go over these in the advising sessions when you show up. I do want to remind everyone, not remind you, but I want to, it's not on the slide here. I want to tell everyone, so I want us to look at the degree works really quickly and just kind of walk you through that degree works and some of the aspects of degree works here. So this is a mock student. This isn't a real student. As you see, it's a DUP data. So I'm going to bring this up as if it were a social work student. Let's see here. And just walk you through a couple of things really quickly. So as I noted, and you go to the video in degree works, Right here, semester hours required is the number of semester hours you need. And right here, semester hours applied is the number of semester hours that you have completed and are currently enrolled in. So it gives you an idea of where your standing is. This is where your overall GPA is. And then here you have the Minerva academic curriculum. And then anytime you complete a course, and there's a legend right over here that lets you know, anytime you complete a course, it'll have a check mark. And if you're in progress, have a little squiggly mark right there. So here we said quantitative reasoning. That's the math course that I was talking about. So math 112 is listed under quantitative reasoning. And then here you have the list of the social work courses. And then these are the cultural and diversity electives that I was talking about down here. And then right here, we have what are called the related area requirements. These are general education courses that are required for the social work major. So they will probably meet a requirement for the major and one of the general education requirements, like the Minerva academic curriculum. This is important. Do not worry about economics. We are in the process of phasing out economics. So it's going to show up on your degree works. What we are trying to do, and this will impact mainly freshmen, possibly sophomores, we're hoping, is we are phasing out this economics and we want to replace it with a groups course, social work practice with groups. We have what is called professional skills. That course, we're going to change it to professional practice with individuals and families. And then we're going to create a professional practice with groups. It's going through curriculum committee right now. And like I said, it takes several months for that to get evaluated. It wouldn't be implemented until the following year. So, but if it doesn't get implemented, or if you're in a trajectory where you don't fall in line where you're able to take the groups course, do not worry about economics. We will count something else towards economics. University took away Economics 101. We restructured Economics 100 or 201, but we actually try to teach economic justice in our social work policy class. So you do not need to worry about taking the economics course. You just need to let me know, and then I will count something towards that economics course. And just really quickly, how to look up a course for me is you go to the website. There's these 4 little circles up here, which one of them was where you go to UNC Genie. And then when you scroll down and look at class schedule, you click that and then you pick spring 2023 and continue. And you can look courses up based on the subject, the topic, or based on what is called the general education attribute. So let's say you are looking for a MAC, critical thinking, social and behavioral science. So you go right under here where it says general education attributes. You just type in MAC and the list of MAC courses will come up and you can scroll through them. And so right here is MAC, critical thinking, social and behavioral science. You click it and then click search. And then here are the lists of all the courses. I usually do 100 per page. So that's 90, 50. And here are the list of all the courses that meets that MAC, critical thinking, social and behavioral science requirement. I think there's a way that you can do this in Schedule Hero. Like I said, I don't have access to Schedule Hero, but from my understanding, talking to students who had to go through this system of kind of typing in this stuff and looking it up, and then being able to look at it through Schedule Hero. Schedule Hero is a little bit more workable. When you come to advising sessions, we're going to be in a computer lab, and I'll be able to work with you in the computer lab based on that. If you clear that one out, if you're looking for like a specific history class, you just type in history and then click that. And then here's the list of all the history courses that are offered during the semester. And it tells you the times, if it's online, days and stuff. And so just to be sure, to be aware, I'll be sending that video out again, orienting yourself to DegreeWorks. I know it's kind of a lengthy video, but the point of it is I really need to reinforce with students that this is your degree evaluation. This is what helps you determine what you need and to stay on track to graduate, the hours you need to graduate and hours you've completed. So please orient yourself to DegreeWorks. We will have advising this week. So I will plan to see people in computer labs for advising, and then please be sure to watch this video. Hopefully you will have seen it by now. Come with questions and we will answer the questions as best we can. We will have your advising codes during the advising sessions, and then we will be available afterwards if you are working on a schedule and you just want to get some more clarity on your schedule. So I hope you're all doing well. Look forward to seeing you on advising. Take care, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.